that room?
We're here! Help us! We're in here!
Please, what is this? How many are there? No. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. Don't worry. I'll talk to him. He listens to me. He's not well. He knows what you're here for. He's not allowed to touch you. He knows that. Huh? I am James McAvoy, and I play Dennis, and Barry, and Patricia. Don't worry. And Hedwig.
My name's Hedwig. I have red socks.
And Orwell.
Muhammad of Ghor's conquest between 1192 and 1200.
And Jade.
Wait. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. He can't handle reality.
All the characters in this movie are challenging in themselves, but having to play all of those characters, sometimes in the same shot, has been the biggest challenge. Not just playing them individually, which is a challenge sort of in itself, but also an audience will buy you as one character, hopefully. And then you've got to go, forget that, now buy me as this next person. And to make that transition interesting and to make that part of the fun of the movie, but not make that alienate the audience, that's my job. I'm trying to be good.
Spielberg said 90% of directing is casting. And I remember reading that in film school, and I was like, what does he mean by that? And, you know, this is what he means by that. James McAvoy is what he means by that. When I wrote it, I was thinking there's not many human beings that could play this, because if someone could do two of the roles, they couldn't do the other two roles. The physicality would throw them off. It has to be someone who could play the Beast and a child.
Oh, that's here. What?
Shooting a movie about a split personality is fascinating because even though it's one actor, it's really multiple characters. And that's the way everyone has approached this, because he really transforms himself when he's playing different roles. James is fearless.
You like it?
And I think that's why he's the perfect actor to play this role, because he can just jump into each character without overthinking it. And I think that's why Knight and him have had such a great rapport on set, because the characters that Knight's created, James sees immediately, and he's diving in head first.
When you watch him, you really believe that his individual personalities are different people. And it's really because he's a great actor that you're able to do that. And if you weren't able to do that when you watch the movie really wouldn't work.
He's not allowed to touch you. He knows that.
He really is a performer that wants you to do your best as well. And it's a pleasure to work with him. And also, like, having him this close, just an acting masterclass.
I think he's one of the best actors in the business, and I've been his fan for years and years and years. And he and I have this wonderful chemistry that's quite immediate, and it's very effortless.
James is, first of all, a really cool guy. He doesn't act like he's cool. He acts like he's a complete nerd, which is great. We've had a lot of fun with him. But he's also, like, a very good actor, and he's, like, really bringing it to the top notch that it could possibly be.
Split was always inspired by independent cinema, but, like, for example, when you look at the people that I hired, I saw the movie It Follows, and I thought that I just loved the way it was shot, so I got that cinematographer, this young guy who barely had shot anything. He shot It Follows, and that was it, and I was like, hey, do you want to shoot my movie? I mean, I didn't know if it would work out, but it did. It really, really did. Also, it didn't hurt when he was in the interview and he's like, Unbreakable is one of my favorite movies. I'm like, you're hired. And then Mara, who did the production design for us, I saw True Detective, which really affected me. I was like, who did that? Let me get that person. So Mara came on and she did the production design and it was wonderful.
What's amazing about Knight is, I mean, he has the whole movie in his head. It's probably the most succinct design process that I've had, because there's so much thought behind everything that there really isn't any guesswork that needs to happen. You think when you get down into the windowless room for the first time that this is a basement or something else, and that's the world. But then the reality of it is that we keep kind of peeling out and opening up that subterranean space, and it's a completely different story. And even beyond that, we have the multiple personality impact of the character that we have to kind of dress into the set, but also not reveal right away. So there's a lot of nuance and subtlety that we really tried to address in all of the set dressing, and it's been really fun actually having the crew come to set, because once they're trapped in a space for an hour trying to light something, they look around, they're like, oh, I get it, this is part of this world. And that's the greatest reward, I think, for me, is when people, you know, kind of catch these little things that we work so hard to thread throughout. Because we're making a film in Philadelphia, and because he's so loyal and such an amazing citizen of the city, there's also a lot of opportunities that present themselves that I don't think a film this size that was just coming in without its connections to the city, that we wouldn't have access to. So in some ways, the production value is actually much higher. We have some really big moments. I don't think we would have gotten them without Knight's persuasion.
I think that's really cool that Knight uses the resources he has to make the movie that he wants to make.
I think he's really brave, bold, and I think he's really clever. He's bucking the trend that says, in order to tell an audience that you've got a good story, you have to spend $200 million on it. I don't think budget is really a signifier of quality, but just a symbol of how many cranes or how many lights or how many big actors are in it. Doesn't mean it's a good story. And I think what he's doing is clearing away all the interference, and he's getting back to proper good storytelling.